Chapter number 15. Communicating through writing.
Writing. Knowledge is gained with the help of books, newspapers, magazines, and discussions. It is to be shared. We share knowledge with our friends, relatives, teachers, and they enrich it by adding some more points to it. This is how we all grow to become knowledgeable and wiser. You will be surprised to know that in ancient India, knowledge was passed on orally from generation to generation. It was shared, but with few people. As a result, knowledge was at times lost. Slowly, humans developed symbols that looked like pictures of animals and objects. These were used to communicate. Early humans lived in caves and so drew pictures on walls of these caves. Drawings on walls of caves have been unearthed in India, France, and other countries that show that symbols were used for expression. The symbols slowly gave way to scripts or a method of writing. This is how languages came into being. About 5,000 years ago, the Sumerian of Mesopotamia, now Iraq, were the first to develop a script. They used signs. They wrote them on clay blocks. Egyptian scripts used pictures and symbols. Such scripts are called hieroglyphics. Other similar examples include Chinese and Japanese scripts that are also based on pictures and symbols. Pictorial symbols were developed and letters were born. The best example is that of the script of Indus Valley civilization. Historians and language experts are trying hard to decipher the script to know more about this civilization. The Brahmi script. The Brahmi script was developed in India about 2000 years ago. Most of our Indian scripts have developed from these scripts. Hindi is written in Devanagari script. In today's world, most languages use the alphabet. The alphabet has symbols, and every symbol or letter has a sound. Human beings produce these sounds. It is believed that, most probably, the people of Syria developed and used the first system of alphabet. This happened more than 3,000 years ago. Today, around 50 different alphabet systems are used by different countries. The 26 letters A to Z of Roman alphabet are used to write the English language in many countries of the world. A script for the blind. Life was difficult for the blind. A blind person had to depend on others to read books. In 1825, Louis Braille made a special script for the blind. It was made by printing the letters of each word in patterns of small dots. These dots were raised in such a manner that a blind person could feel the arrangement to understand the word. The script is known as Braille script. This invention made life easy for the blind. Nowadays, thousands of books are available in Braille. Numbers. Early humans hunted animals and were food gatherers. In order to count, they used sticks, stones, or even drew figures, symbols, and dots. Why did they count? Perhaps they wanted to keep track of the number of animals they had killed. It is said that there are evidences in history that show that the concept of counting began in India. The decimal system and the concept of zero also originated in our country. From India, these concepts reached the Arab world. They called our concepts Hindsa or of India. From Arabs, it reached Europe. This system uses 10 symbols, 0 to 9, to represent any number, from the smallest to the largest. Today, the world uses a Hindu-Arabic system of numbers, which was developed more than 2,000 years ago. Paper. The name paper comes from papyrus. Papyrus is a stem of a plant used by Egyptians to make paper about 4,000 years ago. Then the Chinese made the actual paper that is used by us. They made it from the bark of trees. The barks were made to pulp, and the pulp was spread out on sheets to dry. Later, wood pulp was used to make paper. Nowadays, in order to save trees, eco-friendly books are made from bagasse, which comes from sugarcane and not trees. Printing. We live in a world of books, magazines, and newspapers. Everything is printed and is reader-friendly. Thousands of years ago, clay books were made by Babylonians and Assyrians. The Egyptians wrote in the hieroglyphic script. For writing, they used soot that was mixed with water.
They wrote on sheets of paper with pens made of wood, bamboos, or feathers called columns.
The Chinese were the first to develop printing about 2000 years ago. But this was a difficult method of printing and needed a lot of time. In 1450, Johannes Gutenberg, who was a German, built the first printing press. He made small metal molds of letters of the alphabet. He called them types. This was named typesetting. Ink was applied on the typeset pages and then pressed on paper. After printing a book, the types were taken out and used again to print another book. This method was faster, cheaper, and more practical. Over a period of time, we had manual typewriters, electronic typewriters, and then different versions of computers. Now typewriters are not used at all. These days, with the help of a computer, we can type, store, and retrieve data whenever we want. A special software comes handy to arrange the text and pictures. The advancement in printing has led to the availability of beautiful books that are cheap and therefore useful for the rich and the poor.